welcome to this powerful AF Scorpio full moon and our Phoenix rising moment of the year, my loves. As always, you'll want to watch the first half of this video before you go skipping to your sign, because it's going to have a lot of medicine for you that you're not going to want to miss, boo. This is a hell of a full moon, bringing out what has been in the dark. It's definitely a full moon that I think can actually be very empowering, liberating, and helpful. So we're pretty much going to jump right into it. Really quick though, I will say that I realized I forgot to plug in my mic for about 4 minutes of the video, but I was spitting some truth there, so I want to leave it in. The sound is not going to be as clear as it is now, but it's not that bad. You're just going to hear a little bit of an echo. And right before we get into the Scorpio full moon, if you are a beginner and you are looking to understand more about your chart and these transits, including the Scorpio full moon, your weekly horoscope, monthly horoscope, daily horoscope, yearly horoscope, check out the app Astopia. They are partnering with me for today's video. Astopia is an astrology app that gives you your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly horoscope plus a ton more. They have a ton of stuff on their app and they have affordable prices. So if you would like to try out Astopia, if you're trying to learn your chart, if you're trying to get your horoscope for these specific events like this full moon in Scorpio, for instance, check out the link at the top of my bio, and I'm pretty sure they do a free trial as well. So if you'd like to try before you buy, you got that option too, boo. And let's go ahead and get into what the hell is coming for the Scorpio full moon, because it's important. I want to know who has been here since I used to say in the beginning of my videos, we are not all love, light, twin flames, and unicorns over here. Who has been with me that long? Please let me know down below, because that used to be my intro, because, you know, I am Miss Scorpio over here, even though I'm a Libra sun. I have my Mars in Scorpio, pretty much conjunct my Libra sun, along with Mercury in Scorpio. So I'm pretty scorpionic, okay? Alrighty, you should be able to see my lovely full moon in Scorpio chart up on the screen now. And yeah, as you can see, we have a full moon down here in the sign of Scorpio. How do we know that? Well, because the sun is here in Taurus at 22 degrees. The moon is here in Scorpio at 22 degrees. So the moon and the sun are opposite of each other in the sky. Now, first, let's start here. All right, let's start with Taurus. The sun has been moving through the sign of Taurus along with many other planets like Mercury, Uranus. And basically, you know, this is a time where we are thinking a lot about what we actually want materially for our lives, what we want in the earthly sense, what we want in the physical sense. What are our physical goals? Where do we feel secure? Where do we feel comfortable? Where do we feel not so comfortable? What are our material goals, and what are the things that we desire to achieve in our lives in terms of our material goals, which, you know, could be a house, wealth, a certain kind of job, etc. Now, because we've been thinking so much about the material world and the earthly world and what we truly desire in the earthly world, and also with the sun being on Uranus here, how we want to liberate ourselves in terms of the earthly world, the kind of freedom that we want in terms of our desires with the earthly plane. This full moon is coming in opposite of this to say, hey, if you want these earthly desires, these material possessions, if you want to create these desires for yourself materially, we have to first face the shadows and the deep truths, the deep even desires, deep fears, deep attachments, the deep shit down here that we're not looking at. All right? Because here's the thing. We can't build a beautiful, luxurious mansion, using that as a metaphor. We can't build this beautiful, luxurious mansion on top of a gutter. We can't win the lottery and still have our old spending habits and attachments that keep us going in cycles of being broke, you know, like feeling scarcity and being, you know, just completely like feeling like we are clawing our way out of something. And so this full moon in Scorpio is really coming in to say, hey, there's some deeper, darker stuff that we need to face. And, you know, what's done in the dark comes to light kind of thing. So this full moon in Scorpio can really dredge up a lot of internal stuff that maybe we haven't wanted to face, maybe we haven't wanted to look at, some fears, basically dead weight that we are carrying is what this full moon in Scorpio looks a lot like to me. Dead weight that we are carrying, or certain fears that we haven't wanted to face but that are holding us back. Because here's the thing, this full moon in Scorpio isn't just coming in to be like, boo, haha, got you, I'm here to fuck up your life now. This full moon in Scorpio is coming in to say, hey, this is what's holding you back. You want that new mansion, you want that new car. Okay, well, here's the ugly stuff that you haven't wanted to face. Here's the deeper truths that you haven't wanted to deal with. Here's the fear that so much of your energy is going towards, that you can't manifest what you desire because all your energy is going towards these deeper, darker things that we haven't wanted to admit to ourselves, or that we haven't wanted to face. This messy and chaotic stuff that we're afraid of. The big thing with this full moon in Scorpio is like, you have to get to a point to where what you desire is bigger to you, is more important to you, is more valuable to you than your fear. Okay? So what you desire, this Taurus energy, is more important to you than all this old stuff that you're holding on to, that you're attached to. And again, this old stuff, the Scorpio full moon is not like bad. It's not like demonic. It's not like bringing up all of these like evil things, you know, for you to like, to just mess your life up and to make you feel, you know, like you were on the right track and now you're not. It's not just bringing up negativity into your life for no reason. It's like doing this to help us. It's doing this to empower us. Mars and Taurus, ruler of this full moon, Your Highness. Mars and Leo, ruler of this full moon. Your king, your highness here, okay? If you want, Mars and Leo can very much give us the courage and the confidence to face these fears. But here's the thing, if we're sitting around and we're like waiting for some kind of random lightning bolt to hit us, you know, which is very like Uranus and Taurus, like we're just sitting around waiting for the inspiration to face this, like we're doing it wrong. Courage doesn't come in the absence of fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is having fear and facing it anyway. And you know, what's interesting is like on Sunday, the day right before this full moon, which is on Monday, on Sunday, the moon's actually going to square Mars and Leo, which is so interesting because Mars and Leo is the ruler of Scorpio, where the moon's at. And that tells me that Sunday, there's some kind of like tense buildup of energy that comes out. It's almost like, again, like this intense buildup of courage to face our messy fears. The things that feel deep, hard, vulnerable, difficult, emotional, messy, chaotic, scary. Like this kind of is like Mars and Leo with like moon and Scorpio. It kind of reminds me of like Lion King, you know, when Simba like faces off with Scar at the end after going through like the death of his father and all of that. Like a lot of this Scorpio full moon, like I said in the beginning, is like Phoenix rising, like reclamation, reinvention, resurrection kind of energy. And if you really want to get the most out of this full moon, this is about facing the deeper fears that you have, facing the emotional shit that's going on, facing the deeper stuff that comes up that may seem challenging or may seem like it's throwing a wrench in your plans, but really it's like, no, this is the path, this is the way. This is the monster at the end of this level. If you want to keep playing the game and you want to go to the next level, you got to face this monster. You know, because like Scorpio full moon is very much like whips and chains excite me, you know, like leather and lace. I'm friends with the monster under my bed. We are cleaning out the closet. We are letting the freak out. Did you forget who you were, Mars and Leo, and that you have the ability to face this?
Oh my god, I totally just realized my mic has not been plugged in this whole time. So lucky me. Hopefully the volume wasn't too bad though. Like hopefully the sound wasn't too bad on that first part. I hope I don't need to refilm it. But anyway, what I was basically saying is that this is the time to start facing our fears, facing our shit, facing our shadow if we haven't already, or at least facing the deeper emotional stuff that's been going on, things that we haven't wanted to face. And this is such a beautiful cathartic, this can be such a beautiful cathartic full moon, because again, Uranus is involved. The sun is literally 4 degrees off of Uranus and, you know, opposing this full moon. So this full moon is bringing in this electrifying, liberating, freeing, breaking out of the shell kind of energy with it. So this doesn't have to just be like doom and gloom and sorrow and, you know, like, yeah, the moon is in fall in Scorpio. So it is going to feel, there is going to be this like deeper, darker, gloomier element to whatever is coming up for this full moon. But it's really just showing you where you have these certain fears that need to be faced and transmuted and alchemized. Where your fear is overriding what you desire, where your fear is literally self-sabotaging what you want in your life. And so if you can face this, if you can become what I call the fear-facing fanatic, where you almost like find the fun, Mars and Leo, in facing your fear, you will get so confident in yourself. Every time that I get myself out of like a stuck place, it's usually always when I start facing the damn fears in my life. Like I get out of my comfort zone and I start just facing fears. I remember like a year or so ago, I had this whole freaking like several month period where I became like addicted to like facing my fears. Like I was just like, you know, facing my fear of heights, facing, and not just like, you know, not even just those kinds of fears, but also fears of being seen, fears of actually going after what I wanted again after I had had a bad experience doing it before, fears of changing my habits, changing my lifestyle. You know, they don't always have to be these big, huge fears like skydiving or something, you know. They can also be like things that you've been holding off on, procrastinating on, not wanting to look at, not wanting to feel, feelings you've been repressing because you've been in some way scared of what the outcome brings, or what that outcome will bring. And, you know, like you don't gotta have, like I said, you don't have to have no fear to have courage. Courage is having fear and doing it anyway. And so I'm watching like the new season of You, right, on Netflix. I'm not as into You as I was when it first like came out, but like, you know, it's not like one of my favorite shows, but I feel like I'm just committed at this point. You know, it's like, well, I've already watched all the other seasons. Like, well, why not watch the last one? And so I just started watching like the last season of You the other day. And don't worry, I'm not going to spoil it for you if you haven't watched it or you're wanting to watch it or you're like, whatever. But he said something really interesting in there about a lot of poets tend to always say that rebirth can only come from the fiery embers of something that you once loved. Rebirth can only come from the fiery embers of something that you once loved. And I thought that was so interesting. Like I immediately wrote that down. I was like, that. Like, and that's kind of what this is. It's like what we once lost, what we once loved, what we once had but is no more, that needs to be shed now. It's time to shed. Full moon in Scorpio, you know, the full moon brings a light to situations. It sheds a light on things. In Scorpio, it's shedding a light on the monsters that are still under our bed that we haven't faced, the skeletons in our closet that are holding us back, the feelings, attachments, emotions that are self-sabotaging our efforts and our desires. It is bringing what has been going on in the dark out into the light to liberate us with the sun conjunct Uranus, to set us free. We can make a lot of radical change with this full moon. We can literally set ourselves free of things that have been keeping us stuck or stagnant in like dirty, muddy waters for however long. We can alchemize our pain into power and into confidence and into a level of empowerment with this full moon, with the ruler of this full moon being Mars in Leo. It's like, don't you want to feel like you are able to face your own demons? Don't you want to know that your power is coming from inside of you and not circumstantial? Because true power isn't scared of what it's going, like, I mean, it may be scared, but true power will face itself first. Like, when we have power, like, we're able to face our own demons. And that's how we become fearless in terms of the rest of the world, because it's like, well, I've faced my own demons. I faced my own shadows. I faced my own greatest fears. Like, you know, you can't scare me, you know, like, and this is how we become our own best friends, by facing these deeper, darker things going on within us. And so the Taurus energy is like, yo, you can have the life that you want, the desire that you want. But if you're still holding on to these old habits, these old patterns, these old behaviors, this old lack, these old scarcity stories, these old attachments that you have to like habits and emotions and things and people or toxicity or whatever, you're not going to get there. Because that's taking your energy. And in order to manifest the desires that you have for your life, you got to have your energy behind it. So the Scorpio full moon is coming in to say, hey, your energy is not totally behind it, and this is why. So I'm going to bring these things up to show you what it is. It's not punishment. It's not like, ugh, why do I feel so icky this week? These are just symptoms or signs of what you need to deal with. This is how you reach the next level. This is the path. This is the door right in front of you. Like, whatever comes up, it's like the universe is saying, this right here, face this. Because once we face this, even though it's hard, even though it's difficult, even though it's emotional, even though it's messy, even though it's scary, we feel a weight lifted. We feel set free. We feel liberated. We feel like, oh my God, okay, if I can do that, like, what else am I capable of? We feel more confident in ourselves. We feel more empowered within ourselves. And so again, are you not going after what you desire because of fear? Is your fear stronger than your desire? And if so, that's what this is all about right now. We need to face that. We need to figure out why the fear is stronger than what we want. Maybe we don't want it after all. Or maybe we still haven't faced something with the fear, with the old past stuff that we need to let go of. This is a time of like old doors closing and new ones getting ready to open. We're about to move into, Saturn moving into Aries and then conjuncting Neptune. And this is huge. This is dissolving all of the old ways that we've thought that we needed to do anything. All the old ways that we've thought that we needed to do things. This is dissolving all the old ways that we have been conditioned to move about in the world. This is bringing in a whole new calling for some kind of new journey, challenge, sacred desire. And it's showing us, it's almost like waking us up, because it's dissolving all of the old boundaries that we once thought existed. And so that is what this time is about right now. And that is what this Scorpio full moon is about. And it's the Phoenix rising energy. It's like, okay, to rise from the ashes, we first have to cut our losses. And the cutting our losses part is the Scorpio full moon. We have to bury some stuff that is no longer helping us, but that is holding us back. That is literally dead weight, and we can't carry it with us anymore. So I would love to know down below, comment down below, badass alien, if you stayed until this part. I appreciate you so much, darling. Let me know down below what you got from this, if it was what you needed to hear, and let me know what themes you are noticing come up for this Scorpio full moon, as always. And if you would like even more details on like the buildup of this full moon, all of that, go see my last video, my weekly video. And if you'd like to know what's coming after this full moon, go watch the May 2024 or 2025 horoscopes video so you can see your horoscope for the month of May and understand what we're about to move into after this. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to go ahead and get into what this means for your rising sign. Alrighty, Scorpio risings, this full moon for you is in your first house, boo. So this is all about you. Okay, this is all about you. And with a full moon in your first house, you're going to be feeling emotional. Alrighty, the emotional tides are going to be coming up. And this is definitely going to be a time where you could find yourself a lot more sensitive, a lot more emotional, a lot more intuitive, a lot going on in the dream world as well. Okay, boo. There's some stuff coming up here, and you're going to notice on the build up to this full moon happening on Monday, you're going to be noticing it this weekend as well, where you are potentially a lot more triggered, a lot more sensitive. There's maybe some kind of challenge or pressure that is coming down on you regarding potentially your career, your long-term goals, what you want for your future, or your relationships and other people in some way. There's something here that is like, it feels like, oh my gosh, like I have to do something about this, or I can't take this anymore. It's like you are kind of being shown what is going on internally with you that you need to let out. Things that maybe you have been repressing, not facing, not dealing with, not looking at, not feeling. It's like there's something here that is like bubbling and boiling and like coming to the surface to get you to express it, to face it, to feel it, instead of shoving it down. And it's like there's something here where it could also be kind of like, you know what? RIP to the old me, RIP to the old me, you know, it's like shedding past versions of yourself, letting past versions of yourself go, and potentially facing fears around who you are, around being seen, around your identity, around what you actually want in your life, what your true heart's desire is, hiding your emotions, hiding how you feel, all of that, you know? So a lot of that could be coming up during the couple days leading up to this full moon. And you could be like, damn, like, why am I so emotional? Or why am I so messy? Or why am I so vindictive or vengeful all of a sudden? These are all things that have been repressed that you need to deal with. And a lot of it could surround your identity, your body, your appearance, other people, things that you need to let go of. But also coming back to yourself and centering within yourself and who you are. And not being scared of your own internal world, not being scared of your own self. And that's what ends up empowering you. And that's what ends up making you feel like, you know what, I do have ambition. I can go after my goals. Like, I can do this, right? So that is what I'm seeing for you guys, Scorpio risings. Comment down below, sexy Scorpio rising, if you watched until this point. I appreciate you, boo. And if you missed the beginning, like, you need to go back and watch it. Okay, you really need to go back and watch it. It's gonna be a lot, make it like a lot more in depth for you. And I really think it's gonna really hit home and help you through this full moon. So go back and watch the first half of the video. Because there's a lot in there, a lot of medicine, a lot about you, boo. Like, why wouldn't you want to hear about yourself? Hello. Okay, so Sag risings, this full moon in Scorpio is happening in your 12th house. So this is all about what is hidden, what is subconscious, what is going on behind the scenes. What have you repressed? Where are you self-sabotaging? You know, what triggers, subconscious, unconscious triggers are going on beneath the surface? What's going on with the sleep schedule? What's going on with your habits, your addictions? What's going on with the things that you haven't wanted to look at because they're ugly, gross, inconvenient, uncomfortable, messy, scary, etc. So this is a full moon that's really kind of ending something and bringing something to a culmination with these subjects. This could definitely be a time leading up to this full moon where, you know, the last week or so where you feel like, I kind of just want to be alone more, or I'm feeling emotional or more emotional than usual, but I'm not really sure why. I can't quite pinpoint it. This full moon wants to liberate you from old subconscious stuff, old secrets, old stuff that's been going on in the dark or unconsciously that is holding you back in your life. The 12th house is the house of self-undoing. This is where you subconsciously or unknowingly are working against yourself in some way. With Uranus conjunct the sun for this full moon in your 6th, this is like break free of these habits if you want to have the routine, the health, the job, the life, the stability, the security that you want. You gotta face the spooky, unconscious stuff that you haven't wanted to face. These old patterns, these old, things that are potentially to do with your beliefs, your worldviews with Mars in your 9th. Some of it could be. Or it could be tying that in some way. Either way, it's like you gotta face the stuff in your closet, the skeletons in your closet. You gotta clean out the closet, face the monsters under your bed if you want to have the life that you want. And you would definitely benefit from the first half of this video as a Sag rising. So go watch that. Like, I know I say that to every sign, but especially you guys. Like, the way this is hitting your chart, you need to watch the first half of this video, okay? Comment down below, sexy Sag rising, if you stayed till this point. I appreciate you. Moving on to Capricorn risings. For Capricorn risings, this full moon is happening in your 11th house of other people, connections, your network, your social life. So, brings up a lot of topics around trust. Brings a lot of topics around trust with other people. Trust, messiness, chaos, drama, instability, especially in terms of, deeper trust and deeper karmic lessons, entanglements, and ties that you have to certain people in your social life. Like, I really could see this for a lot of Capricorn risings, like the truth kind of being revealed about certain people in your life that's like, like I had a feeling and I ignored it about that person, or, I knew I shouldn't have been hanging out with those kinds of people. It's like something's being revealed about the types of people or environments or social situations that you've gotten involved in that have likely cost you or put you in some kind of debt, or that now you feel like you owe on in some way, with Mars and Leo in the 8th. Being the ruler of this full moon, and Uranus being conjunct the sun in your 5th. It's like, I just wanted to do something that was fun, or that I desired, or that was stable, or that was secure, or that felt good. Like, I just wanted to have a good time and relax. And now I'm seeing that this same group of people always just somehow is toxic, or brings in this toxicity, or this one person always does, or, whatever. I end up getting involved in these messy, chaotic situations. And I can't do that anymore, something along those lines. For some of you, it could just be maybe you have an online business or something, and you start noticing the different clicks online, and it's what? I've had so much jealousy or resentment around these other clicks or these other people, and I don't want to hold on to that anymore. I don't want to be a vengeful bitch anymore. I'm going to let this shit go, Could be something like that for some of you. It's going to play out for different ones. Maybe your child, 5th house, and 11th house, is going through some situations with other people or with friend groups or something like that. Either way, it's don't sacrifice what you want for the sake of drama. Don't sacrifice what you want for the sake of connections that end up being superficial or momentarily fulfilling, but end up bringing a lot of messiness or chaos into your life in some way. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys, Capricorn rising. Comment down below, sexy Capricorn rising, if you watched till here, because you are. And then also go back and watch the first half of this video, okay? Because it's going to give you a lot more on this full moon, and you don't want to miss that first half of the video. Okay. Moving on to Aquarius risings. For Aquarius risings, this full moon is happening in your 10th house of your career, your long-term goals, your achievements, what you want in the world, your future, adulthood, etc. So this is what are you aiming for in your life? And with the moon, full moon happening here in Scorpio, it's kind of like a culmination point, or even a letting go of how you once perceived your future, or how you once perceived your career, or how a long-term goal that you wanted in some way. It's almost I feel for some of you, this could even be death to a goal or a life that you once had or you once previously lived in some way, shape, or form. And somehow this could be tying in relationships with Mars in the 7th, and your 7th ruling this full moon. It could kind of be like you wanting this deep or intense future, you wanting more power out of your life, etc. But you've actually been more focused on your home, your foundation, your internal world, your day-to-day life, and feeling safe, secure, stable, comfortable there. So this full moon's coming in to say like, hey, you also have these deep desires, but that you also have these fears. Like there is a part of you that may want to be seen. Also, I think full moon in Scorpio on the 10th is like putting yourself out there in a vulnerable way. It's like something coming to light, something coming to the public, something being seen, you know, that is potentially vulnerable. Putting your heart out there, wearing your heart on your sleeve in some kind of way. But also for some of you, saying goodbye to an old chapter of your life, or an old goal, old something that you were working once towards that you're not anymore, you know. Relationships as well. This could definitely, you know, be maybe you start hanging out with someone, or someone has came around with this Mars retrograde, or maybe it's just your partner. Maybe they're wanting certain things out of your future, but you're out of your guys' future, but you're like, you know what, like, I just want to chill. I just want to like chill here at my house and, you know, feel good and be comfortable. Like, I don't want to go after all that, you know, like, I don't want to go chasing after some treasure hunt or something, you know, like something like that. These are the different ways I could see this playing out a lot for you guys, Aquarius risings. You'll have to let me know down below though. And if you missed the beginning, go back and watch that. Okay, it's really important. And comment down below, sexy Aquarius rising, if you watched until now. I appreciate you. And moving on to Pisces risings. For Pisces risings, this full moon is happening in, hold on, my chart is being stupid right now. It's happening in your 9th house of higher education, foreign travel, getting out of your comfort zone. So, you know, for the last couple of weeks with all this Taurus energy, you've been really focused on your day-to-day environment, your town, your city, your local environment, things going on in your local environment, maybe events, outings, errands, you know, social gatherings, things going on in the here and now. What's going on right here, right now around you, rather than what's going on in terms of where you want to go from here in your future and what's going on in the big wide world, you know? Like, it hasn't really been about that the last couple of weeks. It's been more about like, you know, just chilling, being comfortable, being more present, slowing down, being present in the moment, having a good time, relaxing, feeling good, going shopping, stopping and smelling the roses, like embracing more beauty in your life. And with Mars in, you know, Leo in your 6th house, it's also been a lot about challenges and ambition and a lot of energy and potentially even some drama going on in your work, health, and day-to-day routine life. With this full moon in Scorpio coming in, I'm not going to lie, this may not be a full moon that you feel super intensely. Just because it's in your 9th house, and that's usually not a place where, you know, the 9th house, it's harder to notice a little bit on a day-to-day basis. But either way, it's shining a light here, and it's saying, hey, there's a culmination point or something being revealed here to do with getting out of your comfort zone, your belief systems, your worldly views and perspectives, and what you want out of your life. Educational pursuits, travel pursuits, and somehow this could be somehow tying into your health, wellness, routines, self-care, work, day-to-day routines, kind of life and lifestyle in some way, shape, or form. If there's something going on at work, maybe there's some kind of intense buildup that happens here that causes some triggering situation to happen. And it's like in some way, it's like maybe you're dealing with a back and forth at work with like a challenge or a conflict of belief systems or a conflict of ethics or morals or something like that, with the 9th house being involved. And this full moon comes in and like reveals something and is like, you know what? And either I can't do this anymore because it's not, I don't feel honored in this situation, or I don't feel like I would be honoring myself in this situation, or I'm just going to drop this because it's not worth my job, or like whatever the case may be, right? Either way, it's like, can you liberate yourself from your old attachments, from your old fears, from your old shadows surrounding your big
views and, you know, all of that. Could even be your morals, ethics, perspectives on life, etc. So that's kind of what's coming in here. It's like what, you know, having a solid day-to-day kind of life versus, you know, things that are chaotic that are going on a bigger level, you know, in some way, shape, or form for you as a Pisces rising. So let me know down below, Pisces, how you guys are seeing that play out. I'd really love to know, and comment down below, sexy Pisces rising. So I know you watched until here. Go also back and watch the first half. I think that could also ring a lot more bells for you and click some more puzzle pieces into places for you. So go back and do that if you haven't already. Moving on to Aries risings, this Scorpio full moon is happening for you guys in your 8th house. So this is definitely bringing up a lot about your attachments, a lot about scarcity, a lot about debt, a lot about what you owe other people, what they owe you, karmic ties, karmic relationships, karmic lessons within relationships, other people's money, your partner's money, money that's owed to you, money that you owe to other people, any kind of energetic exchange with other people, the coming and going, phobias, fears, you know, all of that. So this full moon in your 8th house is saying, okay, if you want this level of independence and freedom for yourself that you can depend on, Sun and Uranus in your 2nd house, that you can depend on, that is yours, that is your priority, your values, your assets, your possessions, what you want to have, and you know, what you want to have for yourself in your life. This full moon's coming in to say, hey, you also need to face some of these fears over here, or some of these attachments, or let go of some of these ties, or cut off some of these ties, or face some of these phobias that you have, or deal with some of this messy stuff that maybe has been, that you maybe haven't been focused on or haven't been wanting to deal with in some way, shape, or form, because maybe it involves in some way your children, or it kind of clashes with what you want for yourself, or it kind of clashes with your own ego or your own sense of confidence in yourself in some way, or your passions in some way. You know, with Mars and Leo in your 5th house, and Mars being such a prominent planet for you as an Aries rising, being your chart ruler and all. So there's a massive focus for you right now with Mars in your 5th on like what you want, what you're passionate about, where your heart is, and being authentic to yourself. But, and also kind of that solar energy of the sun, of being in your inner power, and the sun being in Taurus, it's like, I want to do these things for myself to build myself up. Or it could even have to do with your children or your love life as well. But I think that for a lot of you, it's like, I need to cut off what's dead, this dead weight that I no longer want to carry with me. Watch the first half of this video, because it's really, really going to relate to you as an Aries rising, where this is all hitting for you in your chart, okay? But let me know how that relates, Aries. Comment down below, sexy Aries rising, if you watched until here. I appreciate you guys. Moving on to Taurus risings. So for Taurus risings, this full moon in Scorpio is a big deal for you. It's happening in your 7th house of relationships and your social life, your relationships with others. Last couple weeks, there's been a lot of focus on you, on what you want, on what you desire, coming back to the present moment, slowing down, resting, feeling more and more like yourself again, new beginnings, worrying more about yourself, your body, your appearance, and, you know, what's going on with you. And now we have this full moon in your 7th house that is like, you know, reflecting something back to you, or projecting something back to you, or shining a light on something to do with your relationships and what is going on there. So it could be something, bringing something deep to the surface, bringing something that was once kind of hidden out in some way, shape, or form. This could really bring up some vulnerable situations or emotional situations to do with other people in your life right now. And then also with Mars being in Leo and being the ruler of this full moon, and the moon squaring it on the way up, it's also digging into your personal life, your home life, your family, what's going on in your private life and behind closed doors. And so there seems to be a lot here where you may feel a bit pulled between what you want, what other people want, and your home, family, living situation in some way. And, you know, this full moon's really revealing something or bringing something to a culmination point to get you to finally face it. And it could be certain fears that you have, or attachments, or certain toxic situations with other people. Okay, so that is what I'm seeing for you guys, Taurus risings. Let me know down below if that related and what you are noticing come up. I'm really interested to know. Also, you know, with Uranus conjunct the sun
during your horoscope, this is trying to liberate you from maybe carrying other people's emotions, pain, misery, you know, all of that. It's like it's trying to liberate you and kind of empower you in a way. And I think there's a way to go about this that is very confident and honorable at the same time. Okay, so just keeping that in mind, because you and Leo are kind of mutually receptive right now. Okay, well, not really actually, but this whole full moon is mutually receptive in a way, because the ruler of Scorpio, Mars, is in Taurus. The ruler of or no, not Taurus, Leo. The ruler of Leo is the sun in Taurus, your sign. So there is, and then Venus is in Mars's sign. So it's like all kind of, you know, connecting a little bit here. But either way, I think that there is a way to kind of deal with this situation, but you very much have to be authentic and honest with yourself, and you have to embrace kind of being out of the box with the sun conjunct Uranus in your sign. You might even surprise yourself with how you kind of react in this situation. It's like you have to shake yourself free of something and face some kind of challenge. But I'd really love to know what that ends up being for you guys down below. And if you missed the first half of this video, you definitely are going to want to go back and watch that Taurus rising. I think it's going to help you guys a lot with this one. Comment down below, sexy Taurus rising, because you are. And we're going to move on to Gemini risings. For Gemini risings, this full moon is happening in your 6th house of work, health, self-care, routines, all that, habits, etc. So this is definitely a full moon that is kind of exposing to you what has been going on behind the scenes in this area of your life. Have you had some hidden subconscious habits that have been sabotaging you? Have you been kind of leaving a mess at work or with your, like, you know, has your self-care routine or, you know, job or office just been really messy because you haven't wanted to deal with it because you've been on vacation, or you've been kind of like in your own like little world with the sun moving through your 12th? It's like you've kind of pulled back. And so the full moon's coming in Scorpio to say, hey, you need to face this stuff. I know that it's messy or emotional or chaotic or vulnerable or scary even potentially, but you need to face whatever this is going on with your health, wellness, and work, like, and your habits. You know, you need to face this, and facing it is going to liberate you and add to your confidence and make you feel more confident on a day-to-day basis and make you feel more confident to express yourself as well. And so that is really what this full moon is about. If you are a Gemini rising, let me know down below how that ends up relating, Gemini. I'd really love to hear your feedback, and please go watch the first half of this video if you missed it, because it's going to help you a lot, and comment down below, sexy Gemini rising, because you are. Okay, moving on to Cancer risings. Cancer risings, this full moon is happening in your 5th house of romance, love, play, children, passion, hobbies, entertainment, leisure, pleasure, doing things for fun, and sexuality. And so these are all of the different topics that you could really see coming up during this time. Now, with you having Scorpio here and the moon, full moon being here, this could definitely be exposing to you where you may take things too far in these areas, where you may be having too much fun or spending too much money on, you know, a gambling game, or, you know, like whatever the case may be, drinking or partying or whatever. But also where you crave a certain level of depth and intimacy in your life and may have forgotten about that, or where you have certain fears surrounding old leisure activities, hobbies, fun, things that you used to do for fun that you need to face in some way and that are going to liberate you. I could definitely see you guys as Cancer risings maybe having like an event or being around other people or doing something social right around this full moon, and then something kind of getting exposed to you about like, oh, like, you know, I kind of see why I used to do that, or I kind of see this old habit or these old behaviors I used to have, and it's time for me to face them and let them go. It's like coming to a culmination point. And this could also involve your own sense of pride, priorities, honor, you know, your own values in some way, with Mars being the ruler of this in your 2nd. Okay, your own sense of money and resources and what you own and have to offer, and your own sense of skills and talents in some way could come into this as well. So definitely be on the lookout for those topics, Cancer rising, and let me know if you're noticing any of them so far. I'd really love to hear your feedback and how this is playing out for you. Comment down below, sexy Cancer rising. And if you missed the beginning, go back and watch. It's going to give you a lot more insight, a lot more to work with on this full moon. We're all going to be noticing those themes in the beginning, so go back and watch. So, okay, moving on to my lovely and fellow Leo risings. Boo, how are you? This Scorpio full moon is definitely an intense one for us Leo risings. It's happening in our 4th house, which is literally like the bottom of our chart, the most hidden, private, personal place of the chart. So this is literally digging up things that maybe we thought were buried or that never really were buried. This is really digging up a lot of potential fears, attachments, emotions, vulnerabilities, senses of security, stability, and even potential scarcity in terms of, and again, even just fears of scarcity or habits around scarcity to do with our home and personal life in some way, shape, or form. And so this full moon is definitely shining a light on a very private spot in our chart. So it's kind of shining a flashlight into that messy closet that we haven't wanted to look in a long time, or that messy basement that we know needs to be clean, but we haven't wanted to, we've just avoided going down there. This full moon's coming in to like broadcast it to us and show us what is down there that we need to face and get rid of, and or that we need to purge or express or let out or release or feel in some way, shape, or form. And for a lot of us, this is just really kind of has to do a lot with like our future and what we want for our life. We are craving a sense of individuality, freedom, liberation in terms of the direction of our career, the direction of our futures, the direction of our long-term goals, and potentially even a craving independence as well. Venus in Aries and then Mars in Leo in our 1st house. It's like we're craving this inner sense of confidence and independence. And it's like, okay, well, if you want to get there, you have to face these fears or these issues or these situations going on in your private or personal life. For some people, this could be at like your literal home and family or with your home life or with your living situation. For other people, it could be even things from the past or things that you've kept secret or things that you've hidden, or even your most internal feelings, especially if you have your IC here in Scorpio, as I do. This could even just be bringing out like your deep innermost feelings that maybe you've been repressing or holding in or not facing. And, with Uranus conjunct the sun, this is about freeing ourselves and liberating ourselves from these things, but they can be painful. This can be old guilt, old shame, old discomfort, old lack, old insecurities, old scarcity, traumas, like all kinds of different things that are really going to be coming up and coming to the surface around this time. This is definitely a time where if you're around family, I would be a little bit careful just because it can be very triggering, emotional, dramatic for no reason, especially on Sunday leading up to the full moon, as the moon's going to square Mars in Leo. There could be some dramatic outbursts and triggers, and it's like we need to get real with ourselves and real with ourselves emotionally on in an internal way, and with our home and family, our foundations, before we can move towards the futures that we want. And so that is what I see for us Leo risings. Let me know down below if that is resonating with you guys. I'd love to hear your feedback and what's happening for you guys right now. And if you missed the first half of this video, as my fellow Leo risings brothers and sisters, go back and watch it because you're likely going to relate to it a lot. Okay, so go back and check it out. Comment sexy Leo risings down below because you are boo, and we are going to move on to Virgo rising. So for Virgo risings, this full moon in Scorpio is in your 3rd house. So this may not be a full moon that you feel very intensely just because of where it's at, unless your IC and MC are in the 3rd and 9th house around this area, then you probably would feel that a lot more. But for the most part, I feel like a lot of you guys as Virgo risings are coming into revelations about your location, where you are right now, your town, your city, or your day-to-day environment in some way. There could definitely be some things coming to light here that you maybe were not aware of about what's going on around you, or what's going on in your town, or what's going on in your city, or what's going on around your house, or what's going on in the circles that you frequent in some way, shape, or form. There could definitely be something being revealed here. You could be feeling a bit more busy or emotional on a day-to-day basis, and there could be a lot of like kind of suppressed tension or suppressed emotions that are coming up around this time, with Mars in your 12th ruling this full moon in your 3rd. So I would really be aware on like
things that maybe you're suppressing to do with pride, ego, honor, attention, you know, those Leo qualities in your 12th that could be kind of boiling up around this full moon in Scorpio, that this full moon in Scorpio could be kind of showing you or bringing to light in some way. It could be kind of bringing to light that there are certain messy situations going on around you or within you that, you know, aren't necessarily always bad, that maybe not everything needs to be comfortable all the time, that sometimes it's okay for things to be a bit unknown or a bit edgy or a bit esoteric in some way, shape, or form. I could really see that being part of the lessons that some of you guys get for this full moon in Scorpio. But yeah, I think that there's being something revealed going on, you know, to do with what's going on like around you locally in your town, in your city, in your local environment, and not even just your local environment, but your day-to-day environments, the environments that you hang around on like a day-to-day basis. So be on the lookout for that, Virgo risings, and let me know down below what you guys are noticing for this full moon. Also, with Mars being in your 12th, this could also be old habits, sinking back into old habits or patterns, and this full moon in Scorpio is like trying to shake you out of that, okay, as well. And so that could be something too. But comment sexy Virgo rising down below because you are, and if you missed the first half of this video, go back and watch because you're missing out on a lot. It's going to explain a lot more about this Scorpio, my words are getting all jumbled up now, but Scorpio full moon and what it can bring for you, okay? So, alrighty. Last but not least, Libra risings. The Scorpio full moon is happening in your second house. So this has definitely been a time where you have maybe been focused on building your wealth, building, you know, your assets, building your, you know, wealth in terms of what you share with other people, building your possessions, other people's money, your connections with other people, maybe building a business or building, you know, your wealth in terms of what you desire and your connections with other people and stabilizing them, securing them, you know, bringing in more quality, you know, into your life in terms of what you want for your wealth, but also what you want for the connections in your life. Now, with this full moon in Scorpio in your second house, it's coming in to really help you address certain fears or certain feelings that you may have not been, you know, facing to do with your own sense of attachments, your own priorities, your own assets, your own possessions, your own desires for what you want. You know, this is about what you have versus what other people have. And this full moon could definitely be bringing in some kind of turbulent or shocking or even liberating energy that frees you from old attachments that are kind of holding you back in some way. Now, for a lot of you, this could somehow tie in other people or your social life or organizations or, you know, charities or institutions in some way, shape, or form, a network of other people in some way, with Mars ruling this full moon and being in your 11th. Okay, so, but either way, there's something here where it's like, you've got to face, you know, like your own sense of safety, security, stability, and attachments versus, you know, your desires long term or your desires elsewhere that aren't, you know, may not always be in your control, right? And so that's really what I'm seeing for you guys, Libra risings. Let me know down below if that resonated and comment below sexy Libra rising because you are. If you missed the first half of this video, definitely go back and watch that. It's going to give you a lot more and I think relate to you guys a lot more. I just don't want to repeat myself like 1,000 times. So go back and watch that to get like even more in depth of a horoscope. Okay. And so I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.